Hello everyone, it's the Hobby Pleb here, back again with another video. Today will be about my garden. Speaking of which, I should probably show you, because in the video that I posted just yesterday actually, or by the date you're actually watching this, which is probably on Friday, I didn't show you that much. So I think it's time to actually show you what it looks like firsthand. The reason why I call myself the Hobby Pleb is because, well, I'm still learning a bunch of stuff and I haven't learned completely everything. But I'm down to learn a bunch more. But I should probably show you what it looks like. So, without further ado, let's get into it. In our tour off, I'm going to be showing you my herbs first. In this kind of herb garden over here, I have my parsley. Fact of the matter is that my parsley sadly bolted, so I planted another one, and in the hopes that it will not bolt. To the left of the parsley, we have oregano. This oregano has actually been growing since last year. It's taken off pretty well in this nice little corner. The basil has been doing pretty well. I mean, I had to cut it though for new growth. To the left of it there's rosemary that I actually got from Walmart last year. I just planted it in a pot and then it took off. Finally, we have the mint in its own little corner because, well, we're not trying to have a bunch of mint piling up everywhere. And that's about all the herbs. I think one of the many reasons why I like to plant herbs in the first place is just to use them in my cooking dishes that I like to make. I think it's very interesting how things grow. For example, the oregano I never thought would actually take off in part shade, part sun. It's kind of weird actually. And I think another reason why I did it too was just to attract many wonderful garden insects and just in the hopes of a brighter, better garden. Up next, I want to show you my seed starting area. This is my seed starting area. I know it's not much, but it's honest work. In this one, I have just kind of seeds that I started. I usually start many seeds in the hopes of getting more sprouts, and I only take the best one. Tomatoes and tomatillos though, as I'm seeing here, I decided to actually plant them in their own little containers so then they can grow more, and then I'll plant them in the ground once they're fully done growing in those pots. Last but not least, I decided to do this peat moss thing. I usually use the self-watering seed starting thing, but I decided to give this a shot because I had it here. And from the looks of it, it's kind of doing well. These are cucumbers over here. Well, it's taken off for the most part because the other times I had done it didn't do so well. On top of growing cucumbers, I'm also growing dill and lavender. For starters, this little thing here, I'm not sure if you can see it, I'll kind of put it closer, has sprouted something. I don't know whether it be dill or lavender because they kind of got mixed up, so I can only hope and pray it's one of the two. I think the reason why I chose to start seeds this year compared to last year is just seeing the fact of how they grow and how interesting it is just to see a little tiny seed that you can pick up and turn into a fruit. This year, I think on top of starting my own seeds, I want to try saving my seeds from previous fruits too. Now, I think that's all I have to really talk about in terms of seed starting. But where I picked up my seeds at were at a local nursery or Home Depot. And they were only usually like 50 cents to 99 cents. So it was honestly not that bad. Up next, I'm going to show you my actual garden in terms of where I plant and just honestly have the most fun in. So for starters, I'll show you one of my raised beds right now. This is one of my first raised beds that I actually built from a very nice wood. I think it was redwood. So over here, to start off, we have tomatoes. We also have a bunch of basil here. This basil plant actually died off, but it still survived. So I was really happy about that one. Another basil plant that actually I didn't even start from seed. It just kind of popped out of nowhere. So that was interesting. And I know I said I love starting my own seeds, but sometimes I buy extra things at the plant store. So we also have a basil from Bonnie's Plants. And it's kind of doing really well in the part shade, part sun. Up next, I want to show you my corn. I know some of them may be looking like they're a little dying, but they're not really. And as you can see here, we have some fabulous corn growing. We got one right here, one right here, one right here, one back there, one up here, one back there. So I think in total I've counted 5. On top of all my garden successes, there do come failures too. For example, this plant was one of them. This plant was originally my tomato plant that I planted, in March. And as you can see, it's looking a little dead. But honestly, I've tried and tried again to at least trying to help it. I first of all gave it more calcium because it was suffering from blossom end rot. Then I decided to add a little bit more nitrogen because the leaves were starting to turn yellow. So that means a lack of nitrogen. And now, I don't know what's going on with it. But a good sign is that underneath all this dead, we have new leaves. Next, I would like to share with you my cucumbers and pumpkins, and also my melons too. So in this bed, as you can see here, these are my cucumbers and pumpkins. And honestly, I love them. Well, at first they took off and they gave me a few cucumbers, but then due to the lack of nutrients in this soil, I had to re-give it nutrients. And it's kind of been like that ever since. But look, there's still new growth. Up over here, there's the pumpkins. I would like to mention that it's beginning to fruit. And over here is a little pumpkin fruit. Oh, and in case you wanted to see an actual pumpkin, here you are. I also forgot to mention that I was growing beans. So all this right here is beans. I know. Here's a little cucumber here. Here you are. Pick that out. Make some cucumber juice. On top of all this, I want to show you probably the saddest bed I ever have. This is the first raised bed I've ever built. So over here we have zucchini that is kind of growing. It hasn't taken off yet, but I'm not too worried. Over here we have some bell peppers. The variety I bought at the store, yes, another bought variety. Kind of turns into purple when it ripens. Up over here we have strawberries that are growing. Again, another bought plant. I'm sorry guys, I really go off when I go to the Home Depot. Up over here we have more corn. Now these corns didn't really turn into anything special, but they're still growing, which is kind of cool. Oh, and I forgot to mention I have more beans here too, down there. Last but not least, I want to share with you my third raised bed that I've ever gotten. And I actually got this for Christmas. This is the third raised bed. And in here, we filled it up to the soil. And so far, nothing really special has happened yet. But all I want to say though is that I have chard growing over there, that little tiny plant. And I'm starting more beans and more chard. Nothing here yet, but I'm thinking of more tomatillos here. Or another tomato. And my favorite part, the little trellis island. Over here we have butternut squash that I've also bought in. And on top of all this, we have plastic mulch here with composted soil along with mulch on top. We have the little trellis, and then we have watermelons that I'm trying to do. And I'm kind of just hoping that the nitrogen from the fish fertilizer will come in, but who knows. I would also like to give some honorable mentions to plants that have been with me since last year, on top of those herbs that were back there. These peppers were with me since day one, and they're still kind of here. They're waiting until the cool seasons come in. We also have this lime tree here, and it so far hasn't given us any limes, but I'm hoping and praying. Here we have grapes, which I just planted this year. And over here, we have a whole avocado tree. And oh man, does this thing grow really big and gives us tons of avocados. Guys, that's about it. I hope you really enjoyed just looking at my garden. And even though it's not much yet, I hope to get a lot of fruits. And I'll be showing you guys along the way too what I get. If you did like and enjoy, please subscribe and like. It totally helps me and it keeps me motivated. Alright guys, see you in the next one. Bye bye.